Hey, and we are live with Jay Sperry from Veteran Service Brands. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the opportunity.
And how rare is it that we actually get a nervous Marine on our show?
Oh no, not even a little bit nervous, Mike. I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jay. And hey, if you're checking in with us today, go ahead and please comment where you're calling in from. And if you're a Marine, let us know you're a Marine as well. You know, that's the one branch of service everyone lets them know if they're a Marine, and I love that. So, I think we've got a really exciting session today, not a class. I just got out of a class teaching the Navy admirals and the Marine Corps generals part of their transition course about using LinkedIn. But what makes today special is Jay is actually, for the rest of the day, a higher military intern working as the COO for G-Force, which is part of Veteran Service Brands. Jay is a Marine and got an internship to be the COO of G-Force, and actually got selected and got a job offer to be the COO of the higher brand, the whole brand, Veteran Service Brands. And tomorrow's his first day doing that, right, Jay?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So that's super excited. This is why we do it, right? We create opportunity, and thankfully you put in all the hard work, and you truly find your success, and probably in a way that wasn't thought of before. But let's, I guess let me start off with some questions. I want people to know you and your story because there's a lot they can learn of it. So was this where you thought you'd be a year ago?
No, not even close.
What were you thinking?
I started my master's program with the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, and I was trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do with my life when I finished. And I was chasing all kinds of rabbit holes. I was chasing, oh man, people are into project management. I need to do that. People have certifications in resiliency. I need to have that. I need to have a certification in this. HR. Let's do HR. Why not? Everybody else is doing it. I was following trends, and I was just chasing someone else's dream, and I wasn't chasing mine. I would have never thought for a second that I would have been where I am today.
So what was the difference maker?
I think the difference maker was after multiple talks on LinkedIn, I was chasing hire our heroes. I was with all these different companies trying to figure out what the best fit was, and then my resume gets shotgun blasted to everywhere, all across America, and I get phone calls. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Maybe you're a perfect fit for us. And you tailor your resume, you send them a new version of it, and then they come back and they don't know anything about the job. They're just the talent acquisition trying to get you through the initial filter. And they're telling you, giving you all these ideas of, this is what you should do for your resume next. Change it to this. Oh, man, again and again. And I think the biggest pivotal point for me was there was an opportunity to serve veterans. And my wife currently works for Wounded Warrior Battalion. She's a completely separate entity from the military. She's a contractor, but she helps service members that are ill or injured. And I just thought, man, what an opportunity for us to be this power couple that both helps veterans on two different sides of the spectrum, right? And I submitted. It was actually a gentleman through Collins Aerospace, Gary Halstead, that sent me a quick LinkedIn post. I was like, hey, Jay, I think this job would be a perfect fit for you. And I'd been working with Gary for weeks trying to find a potential job with them. It just didn't work out. And then a couple of days later, I got a phone call from Amber, and I was in the pipeline with higher military. I couldn't believe it. It was impressive.
So Gary Halstead sent you a post from higher military, or Lucy, or Amber?
No, it actually came directly from your website, higher military. And then Gary was in there. I guess he was just looking. He's just another talent acquisition recruiter for them. And he just said, hey, Jay, I couldn't find you a job, but here's something awesome. Check this out.
I love it. And it was a COO role for G-Force.
Correct.
Now, at any point, so first of all, I want to highlight that I love that you never know where connections are going to come into value, right? He was surfing LinkedIn, saw the role, and, said, hey, I think that, Jay, you'd be a great fit for this. Now, he sends you a role that's titled COO. What were your last job in the Marines?
I was a company first sergeant for HNS at 2nd Combat Engineer Battalion.
So that your last job, you were a company first sergeant for an engineer battalion, and you get sent a job to be the COO of a franchise. at any point did you think like, am I ready for this, or can I do this?
Every step of the way.
Never once.
Every step of the way, I was like, man, I don't know if I even have a shot. But
oh, okay, well that's better, because I was gonna say, well, that's a typical Marine. No, never thought of it. But so every step of the way, you were concerned that you were not the best fit, that it might be too hard. Okay, I like the humility. I think that's important to this. So walk me through the process. Like, you get this job, Gary sends you this job, an internship, SkillBridge internship opportunity. You fit the parameters for the timeline, and where did you go? Like, how did you go from your resume? How did you go through all the stuff, the interviews, the interview prep, and everything else like that? So did you just send your current resume, or did you tailor the resume? Let's talk with that.
No, I got on. I tailored a few things in my resume. I thought at this point, if I could open my desktop for you, I probably had 60 different versions of my resume. And I was just like, man, I'm really tired of doing this. I'd like to just give the best version of me and who I think I am, and what I have to offer this team. And then I tailored it a little bit, and I sent it off. And shortly after that, I was doing my research on the company. I was, what is this? GeForce. And then the first thing that popped up was a microchip company. I was like, no, that's not it. I found it. And then I dug deeper, and I found that they had more brands. It wasn't just GeForce. It was, Field Ops, which paints sports courts and fields. There was, Mach 1 epoxy floors, and then paint core. It was huge. It was way bigger than just GeForce. And I was like, all right, well, there at least was a conversation starter for me, And then I thought, well, maybe I should probably talk to somebody. Maybe I should make a phone call and ask what this is really about. And I made a phone call to Jose Ortiz, who's San Antonio's GeForce parking lot striper. And I said, hey, man, this is kind of weird. You don't know me, and I don't know you, but can you meet me in a parking lot somewhere? You could talk to me about your business and what you do. And he was more than happy to do such. So I was really appreciative of that.
So, okay. So you applied online, you tailored your resume, applied online. I'm assuming Amber came back and said, we'd like to set you up for an interview, and then you did all this?
Correct. So I'd actually reached out to Jose before the interview. And then while Amber and I were actually having the interview, I told her that I had made a phone call. And initially I was thinking to myself, like, man, they're going to tell me not a chance. This isn't a good idea. It was the exact opposite. It was a reverse role. They were, wow, we're really excited that you did that.
Yeah.
Kind of blew me away. I was like, oh, really? Okay. Well, now let's have a bigger conversation. Let's talk.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, so that blank space between when the recruiter says they're going to set you up with a hiring manager and the hiring manager interview, a lot of people just leave that out of there. And instead, what you did is you dove deeper into the company to prepare. And I love that you did informational interviews with people in the company. And the next step is you actually said, hey, can I come out and talk to you about what you do and see you stripe a parking lot or whatever? So you understand what the brand is. And I will tell you, having talked to Jack Child, that experience made you stand out from every other candidate, right? It made you, there were E9s at the 4-star level that were applying for this job. There was 06s that applying for this job. And what were you?
I was an E8.
So
it's the first sergeant.
The first sergeant, the E8 gets the job over all of those other. And a lot of that is just that effort and that connection to make you stand out. And I will share that a lot of people don't understand this. And you can put a lot of work in. I put 40 hours in prepping for my dream job when I was getting out, and I came in second. But I think I came in second because I put 40 hours in. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have been second. There was somebody else that was more qualified, had better experience at the time. But for you to go out there and actually get to know the job, to talk to the owners who are all veterans. So every franchise partner is a veteran. That's the focus of the brand. So when you reached out to a veteran in the local area and said, hey, can I come out? I'm interviewing this job. Can I come out and see what you guys do? There's not a hesitation. I know that's the fact. And so for everyone out there, just so you understand, I'm not going to tell Jason's story on this one for the interview, but our team had set up 5, 6, 7 interviews. And I think Jason was 1 or 2, the first or second interview. And they did 1 or 2 more. And I talked to Jack Child, and he said, him and is it Rachel's the other one that was doing the interview?
Yep. Rachel.
Him and Rachel were on the same page. They're they're not Jason. They're not Jason. Jason blew blew them away with his preparation, his knowledge of the brand. I'm sure it aligns with his engineering background a little bit based on what you guys do, and his motivation. He showed that he really wanted that job. And so they didn't even get through all the interviews. They stopped the interviews and said, hey, we've got our guy. Like, how amazing is that? And so I wish I was there when Amber called you to let you know you got it. But I will share with the rest of the team shortly thereafter. The CEO invited Lucy Robinson and I down to their annual event in Clearwater, Florida, and we got to spend a couple days with all of the franchise partners and the leadership teams and everything else like that. And it was such an amazing experience. It was special to see how these franchises had changed their lives. One veteran had been there a little over a year and already had done really well. And I asked him, do you have any hesitation? He said, no, G-Force changed my life. And that was pretty much the same thing for everybody. But what stood out for me, which will not surprise many of you, was, former First Sergeant Sperry running around the entire event, making sure everything happened without a hiccup. Like, is all the stuff over there? Are we planned? Are we on time? Are we on schedule? Hey, I got this. Oh, we got to flex. And I was just, as a retired sergeant major, I just enjoyed seeing him be the COO, right, for this organization. And so that was my first glimpse. Now, I don't want to talk about the whole thing. So, Jay.
Yeah.
First week on the job. You're the COO.
So first week on the job,
what was that like?
I was highlighted as the new COO of G-Force, and the boss man, Jack, gave me a call. I said, I'm going on vacation. I'll see you in a week. So I had a lot of conversations with Jack and Rachel, the VP of Operations, John Kling, VP of Business Development, and I knew the pulse of the company. I knew what was going on. So I just got to help. It's going to take a while for anybody to immerse themselves in a position. I don't care what position you're coming into, but they were super helpful. Just like you said before, it's a bunch of veterans helping veterans. And before I knew it, we were down there in Clearwater Beach, Florida, and the schedule was already made up. It was already laid out. So it was simple for me to follow. And then as things popped up, I just attacked them. We just did what I had to do. My Marine instincts kicked in, and I just turned left and went. So we had a lot of fun there.
So can you share with us, so it's very rare that someone comes right out into a COO role of a business your size, right?
Right.
So one, I couldn't be more excited for you and that we played a small part in this. But two, what do you do? Like, as a COO, like share with everybody, like, what do you do?
Everything. It doesn't stop. Everything. No, it's you get new ideas, new mission sets. What is it?
Jack said, now I take 50 weeks of vacation.
Boss is tough. He's in here telling me now I take 50 weeks vacation. That's right.
Made his life different. Changed his life.
Yeah, so I got this.
Yeah. So talk me through, what does the COO do?
It's really, in my eyes, the way I see it is just trying to take care of the veterans is the best way we can. It's really helping them become better business owners, understanding and predicting where they're heading. So it's looking at the data. We had a lot of metrics. We were tracking some pretty good data as we went through the systems, but we weren't tracking everything that we needed to. So we started building and putting in place small KPIs and small return, information. And we were able to kind of, hey, this is where we need to be. This is what we're looking for. And then fine tuning that to where everybody understood the process of how to implement those things. And then, I could tell you right now, we've been interviewing a lot of companies or, different organizations that can bring on and enhance those capabilities. And we've gone through dozens and dozens, week after week, Rachel and myself, and we've been able to slowly implement small key components that have, we're not there yet, but we're going to get there. And it's going to be a transformation for the business, and it's going to be a transformation for the partners.
So here's a question for you. What are your biggest challenges as a COO?
Biggest challenges? Oh man.
Like, what's the hardest thing? Like, what are the things that come up and you're like, like this is hard, or like this is, like this is something I spend most of my time on. Like they say, what do they say? You spend 90% on 10%. It doesn't translate to industry, but like, what are your biggest
No.
challenges as the COO?
I think for the challenges for me, it's just making sure that I maintain the relationship. I think the biggest challenge is I find myself deep diving into the small things, little things that shouldn't take up as much of my time, that I should really turn around and focus on the actual individual location, that's having some struggle, that needs a little bit of help with their business.
Can you give me an example of where you would dive into the small thing and where you would, now you're learning how to?
So, small emails that come in that, pull you away from the actual operation that you're working on. You're working on something big picture for the business that's going to help grow the business, help grow the franchises, help sell more franchises to veterans that are looking for successful businesses. And, you get sucked in by, people that are trying to absorb your time that, aren't really following the system. They're deciding that, well, I can go off and do my own thing. And by the way, if I do my own thing, I don't necessarily have to follow the same rules that apply to everybody else. And that takes up a lot of time. You got to make the phone calls and then get them back on the right track and just explain to them, hey, this is the right way to do things. If you do this other way, you're going to disrupt the brand. You're going to disrupt what we stand for. And I think that's one of them. And then, a lot of other companies are out there trying to suck in your time.
Yeah. Can I define that as stakeholder buy-in?
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
Like, build the relationships. You can't just tell people to do things. Sometimes you have to, make those phone calls and, get them to understand the why and that you're really there to help them. That was one of the big things that was hard for me as well, is I couldn't just come in and like, there was a sergeant major rank here on my chest and everybody automatically listens. I realized I had to build relationships and kind of get them to understand that we're on one team, that we're rowing in the same direction. And if we do that, I'll make their life easier and make them more money. And I think that's the same thing that you're doing, right?
Exactly the same thing applies here. It's all about relationships.
And then I guess the other thing is the people trying to sell you something all the time as a COO.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily call it headhunting, but there's a lot, what I feel is, headhunting. They see something, they see an opportunity, and they want to say, hey, come check out our product. And then they absorb a lot of your time. They absorb so much of your time. And, you spend 20 minutes here doing a pitch, you spend an hour here listening to them talk. And some of them have really amazing platforms and it's great opportunities potentially, but just not there. It's not what we're here for. We're not here to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on your product to maybe take us somewhere. We want to go somewhere and you're not a fit for us. So, we use the term, sometimes we got to break up with people, and that's true. You just can't love everybody. You can't work with every single person out there.
And I think you got to learn at some point, and this is why you're still technically an intern. I'll do that. But I think this is also where you have to learn that no one is obligated to your time. No stranger is obligated to your time. You got to pick and choose whether you want to invest the time to hear their pitch. And often for me, that starts with the idea, like, do I already need something? Have I identified a need? Then yes. But if it's just a straight out of the blue pitch, like, I just don't even respond, most of the time. And that's just something you have to learn. Once you put that C in front of your title, you get more and more all the time. So, okay. So what metrics? These are my key questions. Like, we can all talk about like what's your day like, but I know you're just going to tell me it's all over the place, putting out fires, kind of very similar to what you did as a Marine First Sergeant. But, I want to talk about your pain points and the things you learn, which is really just building those supportive relationships, stakeholder buy-in with the franchise partners, and not spending so much time on cold pitches, right? So I want to talk about what challenges are. Now, what metrics do you track? Like, how do you know, besides Jack going on vacation, right? Like, what are the metrics you have to watch to know that you are trending in the right direction?
Well, for us, it's, if
not
I look at
not for us.
Not for us.
How does Jay Sperry know that he's safe and that he's doing a good job? Like, what are the things that Jack cares about the most for you from a number standpoint?
think it's more on a personal level. If there's a metric that can't be measured between the relationship with the COO and the business, I would tell you it was.
I mean, I got you there. Come on, don't beat around the bush.
Yeah.
What's the most? Like, you don't track any metrics. You don't keep your thumb on any specific metrics. Like, what about like franchise filings, or like what about revenue? What about like what are the key metrics? Don't give me the fluffy stuff.
Okay.
You don't. I don't want specific numbers. I just want to know, like, what do you focus on? Like, how as a COO, like, you can't tell me that one of them isn't revenue.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Revenue is one of the top ones.
About the numbers that you look at, that you get like a weekly or bi-weekly report on, that you can put your thumb on and say, I know we're going the right direction, or, oh crap, something's going sideways. So what are
the revenue, years to date, month to date? Those are definitely the important ones.
For all the franchises, or for the business in
everybody,
general?
all of them.
So how do you get those numbers? They have to report?
So originally we have a CRM platform that handles most of the numbers. It's not 100% accurate. We're working on those things right now, but there's some other components of it. Royalty reports that are submitted every month. Each franchise partner submits every one. Yes.
I can tell you are saying his words.
Right.
I want people to know what COOs have to do. And I love that. And happy clients, Jay, because I see all the Google reviews and the great work. But I mean, so you're looking at revenue,
yep,
right?
100%.
Through your franchise partners, and you're very, very happy with your CRM because you don't want to get 50 million CRM companies calling you. Don't call Jay; he'll call you. So revenue from the franchise partners. So that's how much money each franchise is bringing in, and then the total revenue for the business.
Right. And then we track reviews every day, what the Google reviews look like, how many we have last year compared to this year. We track social media. We track a lot of different KPIs in that realm. Reports turned in. So, when we talk about revenue and what they've, submitted as far as sales, and then what they owe as far as franchise fees or tech fees, we got a lot of those things that we have to track every month, month to month. There's customer turnover ratio. So, customers in, and then how many customers out. Like what we used to call in recruiting contact to contract, right? Hey, I made a contact with what's the time lapse between the two? How fast did I turn this customer or this, applicant into a brand new enlistee? For us, it's more of, hey, we contacted the customer, or the customer contacted us. We scheduled the job. How long did it take for us to turn that job into profit? So we track those metrics as well.
I saw Joe Prue commented. He did a post. He didn't comment. He posted. He said, hey, it's raining, but that doesn't mean I can't come out and do estimates. He's like, I can't paint in the rain, but I can come out and do parking lot estimates. So like, give me a holler. Let me come out. And I love the thought process in that. So you said social metrics. Word on the street is your LinkedIn metrics have gone through the roof since you got a cool class in January. So
why do you think we want you to come back? I want you to come back every year, because as soon as January hit, metrics went through the roof. We had multiple, it felt like millions of impressions, multiple social media grabs. Our networks grew significantly. I mean, we're tracking all that stuff now. We have to understand how big our reach is, and our reach is going to reach other veterans that might be interested in successful businesses. So.
I mean, I think of G-Force, I think of veteran service brands. I constantly think, like, if there's parking lots can be striped, they're the first ones. If I need painting and there's a paint core near me, if I ever need an epoxy floor or an athletic field striping, like, I think of your brands. It's because they're veterans. That's what I love about what you guys built, is that they're all veteran-owned franchises. And I've loved seeing their growth on the platform and seeing them share the amazing work that they do. So, okay, so we've got what you track, we got your pain points. So let's talk about the transition. So here we are tomorrow, like, you're on the next phase of your transition. You're the COO of Veteran Service Brands, like a huge organization, like you found your success. So what would be, and we've got about 5 minutes left, what would be your advice? Even knowing that you're a one-off, like an amazing random, like incredible success case to go from E8 to COO of a huge business is incredible. So give me your advice to anyone transitioning.
I would tell everybody that was going to transition, find if you wrote down on a piece of paper the 5 top things that you think you might want to do, narrow that down to 2, and then eventually narrow that down to 1. You should start 12, more than 12. I mean, really, if I would have really thought about this, I would have started beyond 24 months before my transition. I would have really started to plan my life a little bit better 3 years before transition, so that way I knew exactly where I was going, and I understood a little bit more about what I wanted for me personally, not just what everybody else was doing. I don't want to do everybody else's job. I want to do my job and what it's going to be right for me. And I would have done exactly what you preach. Believe it or not, I didn't listen to you. I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I was a little too stubborn at first, stubborn Marine. But I would have got on my LinkedIn and I would have really spelled out what I wanted. What I was looking for was very granola. In fact, if I put it quite frank, it was
project manager and operations.
Yeah, that's it. It was basically it. Yeah, here we go. This is what I want to do, and this is how I can do it for you. It really didn't spell a story for me. I didn't make the connections. I didn't follow kind of what you preach, which is, at minimum do 5. How many connections a day? Because I wouldn't be here today if it wouldn't have been for a LinkedIn connection.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have gotten it, and I wouldn't have known more about the business. I mean, Amber did phenomenal in it. I can't express to you guys how awesome that interview was, because she actually set me up for success even more than I thought I could because that interview. So I would recommend people practice interviews with a friend, have them read the job description and go in and practice that. I would say, don't spend your time trying to find another educational certificate that you can do that's going to potentially make you more competitive. It might not.
Yeah.
And have fun, have fun with it. Enjoy the search because it's part of the experience.
So one of the things, it's really interesting. One of the things that common threads I hear with, successful executives is when I look at their path, and you always look back and you realize that the path went like this in ways they didn't expect. But when you look back, it almost looks like it went like this, if that makes sense. There were changes in your career. So when I look at, you're a first sergeant of an engineer battalion or an engineering company, there is the construction, the manual labor aspect of that, which I'm sure supports what you do now. Like, you understand, like, you got the bollard brigade, is putting in the bollards for millions of dollars worth of bollards all over the tri-state area. What is it? Delaware, Maryland, like Baltimore, Delaware, Philly, like that whole area. You're putting all those bollards, like that's construction. And you talk about like the paint core, or the Mach 1, like the striping and all that stuff. Like, it's all like, that's all there. And then I know we spent a lot of time. So I did spend a lot of time with Jay. So I did get a story. He was a recruiter. And I think what the recruiting background brings in is the outreach and the sales. Like you said, like you said, contact the contract.
Yep.
Like that sales, like that sales background pays dividends. And then you bring that together, and you can see how those together with the leadership and the kind of take that hill, that kind of like no task is unachievable mindset, really, I think, comes together and leads to where you are now. And I'll tell you, you smile a lot for a Marine. So I appreciate that. Like, he's trying not to smile. So, and then the other thing I'll just share with everybody as we kind of wrap this up is, some may say it's luck that he got this this opportunity came up at this time. But I will say that timing plays a role in everything, and all it is preparation meets opportunity, right? Jay prepared, and we did 60 resumes. He was doing informational interviews. He was working hard to find his success. And when he got a chance that, had I looked at the resumes prior to Jack getting them, I would have probably, like, I'm just being honest, I would have probably ranked you at the bottom. just because of like rank. I hate to say it. You know what I mean? Like you have like E9s at the 4-star level. You've got 06s that are engineers. You got all this other stuff. And I don't want to, and it's wrong that I would think that way, but I want to be honest with people on biases and how they exist. And that's why you do the interviews, because what came through is that not only did you have the interpersonal connection, which is the huge part of it, like that connection with the CEO saying, this is my guy, right? But you got that by demonstrating you were going to outwork everyone, right? Like you put the work in beforehand to say, this is me. And I'm sure, and I know this after talking to Jack, like you answered questions in ways that none of the other candidates could, because none of them did what you did. And so I don't know how I got on that little like soapbox soliloquy, but I don't even know if I said that word right. But I do this to say that I'm super proud of the work you've done. Like so excited for you. I know you're not going anywhere anytime soon. And thank you for representing our community so well. So
we thank you, Amber. I mean, Mike, Amber, Lucy, everybody from the whole team, you guys were phenomenal for me. You guys have done phenomenal things for G-Force and veteran service brands. And I know a lot of our owners are speaking pretty highly of you guys. And then, we're excited to be a part of your guys' team too.
Now, I'm going to say I'll give you a last word, and then I'll go. Is that good for you, or do you have anything else you want to share?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, unless you want.
I got to share this, especially since Jack's still walking. So, buddy that I've known for years on LinkedIn reaches out to me and says, hey, I really think you should talk to this franchise guy. And I'm like, franchises? Like, really? He's like, yeah. Like, I love this guy, Jack Child. I want to connect you to him. And I'm like, franchises? All right. He's like, yeah, they need help. They need to find more people for their franchises. They want to expand their business. They're doing great things. They're all veterans. I'm like, okay, for you, I'll do it. And I got on a call with Jack and was in love with the business from that point forward. Like, just like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I love what they're doing. The success, the way they support the franchise owners, that they're all veterans. Like, he had me sold. And even like when I was down there, I talked about and I know Jack said, don't talk about numbers. So I'm not going to talk about numbers. I know you guys are all worried about that. But like the amount of business that these franchises are doing year after year and the profit margins and the way they were able to, like, it all made sense. Right. So I fell in love with veteran service brands. And so I'm like, Lucy, I got to connect you with, this guy, Jack Child, to talk about veteran service brands. And Lucy goes, oh, franchises, parking lot striping. And I said, trust me, like, I love these guys. We got to do something with them. And she gets on. All right, Mike. She gets on. And she calls me. She says, oh, my God, I love these guys. I love these guys. This is before we came down to Clearwater. And so, and then to hear the success stories, I just, number one, I can't say it enough. If you're considering entrepreneurship, then you should reach out to Jay or Jack and talk about their franchises. And I don't get any remuneration for this. Like, this is just me having spent the better part of several days with them and seeing how much I love it and talking about the business and everything else like that. But two, don't turn away offers without exploring more. I heard parking lot striping, and I'm not a manual labor guy. I'm an Intel guy. So, but when you think about it, like, it's a service that's needed. And I see the impact of the photos, and from a safety perspective, from a vision perspective, from a visual perspective, from sales and a branding perspective, seeing the difference they make, to see the robots that are painting the fields, to see the epoxy floors that the team in Tampa just did, like, seeing these things, these are all services that are needed repeatedly. So, like, you're never going to be out of business. And that's what There's Daryl. Daryl's the one that called me. So I was trying not to give out names, but I just tell people, like, be like Jay, like, see opportunity, go seize it, and have an open mind and do your research, and you'll find your success. So sorry, I just had to share that story. Jay, sorry to keep you listening for a while, but congratulations on your journey. If any veterans want to talk to you about what you do, or what G-Force brands, or Mach 1, or and veteran service brands, G-Force, Mach 1, Pink War, if any of them, if they want to talk to you, could they reach out via LinkedIn?
Oh yes, most definitely. I can. I'll be ready.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks, Jay. Thanks, Jack. And Daryl, since you commented, thank you, Daryl, for the introduction. I think we are all better for that match. And have a great day. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, day one on the job officially, right? I've been doing the job since the beginning, so we're good.
I love it, though, but official day one. So thanks, Jay, and have a great day.
Thanks. Appreciate it.